on the video that you said.
Oh yeah.
Listen, I ain't got a clue. How was it? These boys say not shaped like a diamond.
No, you change shit.
Yeah, just making stuff up. Hard to say, I don't know nothing about that, but I don't know what he was talking about even. Yeah, innit? I don't know what he was talking about even. All I know is it sounded good. So I don't know, it sounded decent. The other one was speaking some sense though. You said what?
You're right for a donkey.
Yeah, you can go whenever. I'll be up. Oh, no, sir. Oh, so lucky. Let me just. Can't this up on the YouTube. All right, this is the I.S.U.P.K Wednesday law class. Yeah, this is the I.S.U.P.K Wednesday law class. Also, remember, checking to Commanding General YAHANNA's radio show. He's breaking down all the current events. He's going into World War III, Iran, America. And if you noticed on the news today, America told Great Britain to pull out of the nuclear battle with Iran and whatnot. So all of them events is taking place. You ain't going to get no better breakdown than Commanding General YAHANNA. So log into the radio show, man. He'll break down all that for you. And Salak is another episode over there. So also remember to check out the radio show. Also, there's classes in the States, Tuesday through Friday, man. Tuesday, the Brotherhood class. Wednesday, the law class. Thursday, the scripture breakdown class. Friday, the Lashon Kodash, which is the Holy Tongue. And then this class, and then Saturday, the Sabbath service. And then here, we got classes here. Monday, 7 p.m. Wednesday, 7 p.m. Thursday, 7 p.m. B18 5PW 394 Lodge Road. Come on down to those, man. Also, we got the lecture coming up the 25th of January, 3 p.m. We're starting 3 p.m. sharp. You know what? Because black people's always running late, 2 p.m. start. Let me tell you, 2 p.m. So hopefully you're here for 3 p.m., man. And today, we're going to be going into the law, man. We're going to be going into laws that most people don't know about or most people don't understand or why things is written in the law. Like the laws of God is such a beautiful thing, man. You know, I've realized by reading the laws of God, you realize, you know what? That relates to my life, and maybe if I change that, the outcome would be different. Right. Obviously, what happens is when you're sitting up in one of these fake Israelite groups or you're sitting up in church and you read the Bible, nothing relates to today in them places because they don't understand the Bible. They just read the Bible like the Bible's ancient and out of date. That's how they read it. They read it like it's expired. When this Bible, man, everything is talking about, if we had done it, we wouldn't have half the problems that we have. But first, I want to start off in give me Leviticus chapter 25 and verse 39. I'm gonna start off in there, man. I'm gonna start off with a little bit about brotherhood, man. So we're gonna start there.
Leviticus 25 and 39. And if thy brother that dwelleth by thee wax and poor.
So now, if you got a brother that lives by you and you're in a position to help, like obviously now chances are you're probably not going to be in a position to help because most of us is poor nowadays, man. Most of us is what? Barely making ends meet, can barely afford the rent. Your ribs got you on child support. So then they're taking 15% out of your wage, man. They're taking 15% out of your wage. And then how much do tax take about what, 21%? Nah, 21%. 15. I wish it was 15. Yeah, it's about 20 to take 20%. I'm sure it's gone up to 21%. So already you're losing 21% due to the tax, man. You're losing 15% due to child support. Child support. Oh yeah, no. So also well how much it is. Listen, this is how they do it. 15% for one child, 20% for 2, and I believe 3 or more, it's 25%, man. 25% for 3 or more. That's how they do it, man. Yeah, man. Which makes men just want to quit their job. But that's a sidebar. Go ahead.
And if thy brother that dwelleth by thee be waxen poor.
So if there's a brother that lives by you and he's waxing poor, meaning what? He weren't always poor. He's waxing poor because what is falling on hard times. Because that happens in every black man's life. You're gonna fall on hard times, man. Every black man knows what it's like to fall on hard times. Having to go to the job center, feeling like the scum of the earth when you walk into the job center, especially the one on Soho Road, man. And you see that 79 bus come past. And you look back and you see people, tons of people on the bus watching you walking in the job center, man. This society's got a way of making black men feel like less of a man when you're in the job center. You come out, you pretend you're on your phone. Like, really, you ain't on the phone. You pretend you're on the phone because it's an embarrassing thing to. They make it. It's an embarrassing thing to walk out of the job center because what you need them to help you with money because you can't get a job and whatnot. Go ahead. So if any brother be waxing poor, go ahead.
And be sold unto thee.
So now, this was back in our time. If a brother grew poor and he was sold unto you, not as a slave though, you'd have to treat him right because the Lord's got laws in place. Even for poor brothers, the Lord's got laws in place for poor brothers, man. That's how righteous God is, man. God don't just care about the rich of this world and whatnot. God cares about the poor brothers also. Go ahead.
And be sold unto thee, thou shalt not compel him to serve as a bondservant.
Thou shalt what?
Not compel him to serve as a bondservant.
So if you've got a black man that's fallen on hard times, you shouldn't compel him to serve as a bondservant. Meaning what? You ain't meant to make him do rigorous work. You ain't meant to make him serve with cruelty. You ain't meant to treat him like garbage. You ain't meant to say, you know what? Cut my grass and I'll give you £2 and whatnot. You don't treat a brother like that, man. Right. The same way you would pay a professional to cut your grass. Pay this brother a professional wage if he's cutting your grass, man. Right. That's what you do, man. Don't just say to him, oh, yeah, cut it for £5. This is what people do, man. You see in this neighborhood, people that's got a little bit of money and there's a crackhead black man, they let that crackhead cut their grass for like, what, £2, £5? Don't do that to your brothers, man. The Lord said, don't make them serve as a bond servant. Now, if there's a heathen, you can make him cut your grass for 50 pence, man. Right. But if it's your brother, don't let him do that, man. While he's cutting your grass, offer him a cup of tea, offer him a plate of food, because you know he don't usually get these things. So you treat him good, man, and let him know, yo, this is how black people are supposed to treat black people. And then one day, maybe when he gets on his feet, he might help someone less fortunate, and he might remember how you treated him, and he might treat them in that good way also, man. Or who knows, generations down the line, a child of yours could fall on hard times, and someone treats them as good as you treat someone, man. This is a black man. You don't make him serve with rigor and be horrible to him and make fun of him and record him and all of this stuff. Listen, man, plenty of us fall on hard times. And what do these rappers do? They say, F these broke niggas. Listen, man, never, ever, ever will you hear them say, F these broke Arabs, F these broke white men. It's just always F these broke niggas. Like what? Like this brother's not already upset that he's poor, man. You think like he's not already upset that he's poor and can't make ends meet. And then every rap video he turns and he's got to see you throwing money talking about F these broke niggas. Listen, man, what has he done to you, man? It's not his fault he's broke. There's no jobs out there. And listen, man, when you're black, it's even harder to get a job because they've got a system in place which keeps black men down, which belittles black men. And even there's articles where it lets you know if you got a black sounding name, they're less likely to give you an interview. So listen, and also all these people saying, all these rappers and these drug dealers saying F these broke niggas. Listen, man, you're one police stop from being a broke nigga yourself, man. That's all it is. You're one left turn away from being a broke nigga yourself, man. What you're doing ain't even legal, which means what? When police do catch up to you, you're gonna be right here with us, so-called broke niggas, man. And you're gonna come to us and be like, oh, I'm broke, I need to make some money. And we're gonna pull up your rap video and say, oh, what happened to all these gold chains and this watch? Guess what, man? The police done took them off you and confiscated them. And then what they do with your money is they make you pay it back now. So if they believe you've got ill-gotten gain from drug dealing and you've made, let's say you've made about, what's the average black drug dealer make? He don't even make 100 grand, does he?
Drug dealer?
Yeah.
A dead one can make.
It's not even that good. Is that all they're making, £500 a week? Damn, you better have to You're better off just getting a job, man. £500 a week. What's the point, man? And you do more hours than if you did work a 9 to 5, you'd pick up more than that. So listen, let's just say a drug dealer makes 100 grand. If police can prove that you've been selling drugs all this time, and your net worth is estimated at this, and you've made about this much, you have to pay all of that back. And then if you don't pay it back, they give you jail time, man. They say if you don't pay it back, you do an extra 5-6 years in jail. That's what they do, man. So everyone living this fast life, it doesn't last. Because when they do catch up with you, you see all that money you've got put down, they take it, and then it was like it was out there for free. Because all of this money, guess what? You can't do nothing. You can't buy a house with all that cash, because you need to prove that you're making income. Or if you do buy a house, what will happen? They'll be like, where's this money coming from? And before you know it, they've found out everything about you and whatnot. Go ahead.
But as a hired servant.
But as a what?
An hired servant.
So listen, you need to treat a black man as a hired servant. Meaning when you hire someone, what do? You pay them a wage, man. Even in this system, Esau pays his hired servants a minimum wage, man. How much more better would it be for you to pay your brother a decent wage? The Lord said you have to treat your brother like a hired servant, man. A hired servant is someone that's hired, and you don't treat them like a slave. You don't treat them how these East Indians treat their brothers in the chicka, have them working a whole week. They have them working a whole week for what, like £50?
Yeah.
They have them work, yeah. They have them working a whole week for £50. 10 of them sleeping in the bathroom, mattresses on the floor. The Lord don't want us to treat our people like that. But these heathens, they can treat each other like that. You know why? Because obviously the Lord ain't with them. The Lord is with us, so we can't treat our brothers like that. Go ahead.
And as sojourner, he shall be with thee, and shall serve thee unto the year of Jubilee.
And this was the year Jubilees came after 7 years. Obviously, we're not in our kingdom, so we don't know much about that now. But people outside the truth don't know much about the year of Jubilees, where the brothers go free and whatnot. Go ahead.
And then shall he depart from thee, both he and his children with him.
And now the man, he's worked for you for all these years, which means what? He's saved up some money. So now that he's saved up some money, the year of Jubilees, he gets to go free. And guess what? Guess what he should do with that money? Pull it into some land, man. Pull it into some land. He's worked for you so he could make some money. He can put that into some land, and then he can be on his feet now. And then now he's got a nice little plot for his family, probably growing bananas or something. Probably make like in Jamaica, what they do is, this is what they do in Jamaica. A man will grow bananas, and then he will sell bananas in bulk, and he will make banana porridge as well. And then they sell banana porridge. And then what happens? People buy banana porridge, and then before you know it, they move on to selling other things. Then they got the cart. You know, when they push that cart around in Jamaica, push the cart around selling banana porridge and all these other things. And now that's just a small step. So imagine they're making decent money off banana porridge. Then they can teach their kids the trade. Then their kids the trade. Then before you know it, everyone's coming to them for the banana porridge. Go ahead.
And then shall he depart from thee, both he and his children with him.
Both him and his children, man. Go ahead.
And shall return to his own family and unto the possession of his father.
So now this man would return to his own family after saving. You have to make him money after saving it. Because obviously he's coming to you really to make money. He ain't coming to do it for free. He just needs money. His family is fallen poor. So the Lord's showing you how a brother can get out of his poverty. When we had love for one another, this is how a brother would get out of poverty. You being in a position, you'd be like, you know what? All right, you can just do some maintenance around the house. You can just fix these light bulbs, fix the electrics. You can cut the grass. You can do the school run. You can do taxes for me. You can do this and so forth. But you're treating him like a hired servant. You'd make him feel loved, man. Like you wouldn't look down on the brother. You would just, treat him like a hired servant. And then all that money he gets from you, he would save it. And then afterwards, he would depart because he's got enough money to go back to his own family. Go ahead.
Shall he return? For they are my servants, which I have brought out of the land of Egypt.
For they are what?
My servants.
So listen, the Lord said, you can't be hard on a brother that's working for you, man. A black man, anyway, black and Hispanic, man. You can't be hard on him because the Lord said they're his servants, man. Meaning what? They ain't the Lord's slaves. The Lord said they serve him, they're his servants, and the Lord don't want you to treat them like garbage. But guess who you can treat like garbage? Esau. The East Indians, the Pakistanis, all of those people. You can treat them like garbage if they're working for you. You can treat them anyhow you want to treat them because they ain't the Lord's servants. and the Lord don't care about them, you can treat them like a bond servant, man. You can make them work sun up to sundown. And on the flip side, Esau understands this also, man, because he treated you like you was the bond servant. Right. He didn't treat you like you was his brother. He didn't treat you like a hired servant. So when the tables turn, we ain't gonna treat him like a hired servant, man. Go ahead. What verse yet?
Verse 40.
Go ahead.
They shall not be sold as bondmen.
They shall what?
Not be sold as bondmen.
Listen, man, the Lord said these black men are his servants. So the Lord don't want that you to sell them as slaves, man. The Lord don't want these people to be like slaves. You see those East Indians working in the chip shop all them hours, and then immigration coming to find 50 of them sleeping on the floor and they're all urinating in the corner. The Lord don't want you to treat his men like that. You know why? Because they're his servants, man. Whether rich or poor, we're the Lord's servants. And the Lord is showing us brotherhood and how to deal with one another. Go ahead.
Thou shalt not rule over him with rigor.
Thou shalt what?
Not rule over him with rigor.
Rigor means severity or cruelty. The Lord don't want you to rule over him cruelly. The Lord don't want you to beat his back. The Lord don't want you to do whatnot to him. The Lord don't want you to discipline him. The Lord don't want you to do none of that. The Lord said, thou shalt not rule over him with rigor. Now, if we understood these laws, this place would be the kingdom right now, man. We would be in the kingdom right now if we understood these things. Go ahead.
Thou shalt not rule over him with rigor, but thou shalt fear the Lord.
And don't rule over him with rigor. Thou shalt fear the Lord. Now, if you did fear the Lord, we wouldn't be cruel to one another. You know why? Because we know if we be cruel to one another, the Lord will come deal with us. But because we don't fear the Lord, we just cruel to one another, horrible to one another, treat one another like garbage, man. That's what we do. Go ahead. Anyone that?
Both thy bondmen and thy bondmaids, which thou shalt have, shall be of the heathen.
Hold on. What did that say right there?
Both thy bondmaids, thy bondmen and thy bondmaids, which thou shalt have, shall be of the heathen.
Listen, man. This is in the Bible. The Lord telling us the slaves that we do have to be of the heathen, man. The Lord saying a slave shouldn't be an Israelite, but a slave should be of the heathen. The Lord saying a hired servant should be our brother, meaning what? In our kingdom, obviously, we're going to have land and riches. And then you could have a hired servant, meaning you could have a brother that oversees these devils on the plantation, man. You could have a brother that oversees these heathens picking cotton, these heathens cutting sugarcane. You could have a brother that oversees them, man. You treat him good, and then he treats them bad. That's how you can do it, man, because they're heathens, man. But your brother is a hired servant. So everybody gets the point. You treat your hired servant, you treat your brother good. Because at the end of the day, he's a black man like you're a black man, man. He's got a mom like you do, father like you do. He's from the same nationality of you. He's got his fathers and your fathers is the same, man. He's your family. Just look at it like this. Your blood brother who came out of the same father and mother. You wouldn't treat him like a slave because he's your brother. Like what most rich people usually do is what? Bring in their family, right? Or Israel's your family, man. Bring them in if you can, man. If you can bring them in. But obviously now we're kind of not in a position to be bringing nobody in. You bring you tell your manager at your job, yeah, I got a brother who's a good worker. The brother comes to your job and stains your name forever, man. Comes and stains your name forever. Your boss says to you, I'm not taking no more recommendations from you. And listen, man, obviously, if you are at a slavery, just make sure the brother that you are trying to get a job is honorable enough to, not come there and cause no nonsense, which is going to cause you problems. Because most people ain't honorable enough to do that. Most people come there, do whatever they want, think they can do whatever they want, and then it looks bad on you. Because everyone's going to be whispering, oh, Dwayne brought him here. He's Dwayne's cousin. Dwayne's done brought his cousin that's to now beat up the manager and threatened everyone in the building. And now they're going to look at you. So make sure, if you are going down that way, you're going to bring a brother into your job, make sure he's decent enough at first, man. Obviously, you should know him before you. If you know he's decent, bring him in. If not, just say to him, I would, but the way you behave, and I'm not going to, ruin my slave for you and whatnot. What was the question?
So if my brother robbed me of my rent money and I lose my home, should I forgive the thief if he repent or lose it?
So say that again.
So if my brother robbed me of my rent money and I lose my home, should I forgive him if he repents or should I beat him?
Basically, you have to forgive your brother, man, no matter what he does. You know why? Because all the wrongs that you've done, the Lord's forgiven you, man. The Lord could have made sure you died for all the wrongs that you've done, but the Lord hasn't. The Lord said what? And also another thing, when Christ was on the cross, brothers gave him up, man, to die. They mocked him, and Christ could have said, you know what, kill every last one of them. Guess what he said? Forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do. Also, your brother that robbed your rent money, one of my older brothers robbed my money as well, man. And to forgive someone doesn't mean, oh, you just leave money lying around next time they come around and you forget about it. To forgive someone means the proper what forgiveness means is what? To not take vengeance for a wrongdoing. So you can be mad at him and be like, I ain't speaking to him no more. I ain't messing with him no more. But to forgive him means not to take vengeance. But the Christian church teaches that forgiveness is what? Saying, oh, he robbed my money and I'm going to put more money there for him to rob again because I have to forgive him. But you have to forgive him. And if he repents, see if the brother can pay you the money back, man. Just say to him, you know what? I understand you've fallen on hard times. You need this money. Can you pay me back in weekly installments? Say to them, can you pay me back in weekly installments because I need it and whatnot? Give me that scripture when Christ said 70 times 7. Wherever it's at. I'm gonna pull a scripture for you because Peter also asked the same question that you asked. So I'm gonna pull the scripture for you. Because it's rough. Obviously, you rent money, you lose your home and whatnot. That's rough. Yeah, so we're gonna read this. This is what Peter asked you. How shall I go ahead?
Matthew 18:21. Then came Peter to him and said, Lord, how oft shall my brother sin against me?
How what?
How oft shall my brother sin against me?
How oft shall my brother take my rent money? Go ahead.
How oft shall my brother sin against me? And I forgive him.
And what?
And I forgive
So
him.
how often shall my brother sin against me and I forgive him? Go ahead.
Till 7 times?
So he said 7 times. Because Peter's saying, you know what? This nigga keeps doing the same thing. Surely after 7 times, there's no point in me forgiving him because he keeps making the same mistake. He keeps doing the same thing. Go ahead.
Yahweh shall say unto him, I say unto thee, until 7 times, but until 70 times 7.
Christ said until 70 times 7, man. What's 70 times 7? 49, right? Yeah. Listen, obviously it's not literally on about 49 times. Christ is saying, yo, you forgive him that much. Peter said 7 times. Christ is saying, you know what? 70 times 7, man. Saying what? You forgive him that much times, man. That's what he's saying. But really, it's limitless. You forgive him as much times as he repents, man. Go ahead.
Until 70 times 7.
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. There's more on that, right? Yeah, I think there's more on that same verse. So basically, that means forgive your brother continuously, man. Even if he trespasses against you, but don't put yourself in a position for him to, like, you know your brother's a thief. So the silliest thing you could do is leave money lying around, man. You know he's a thief. Don't put him in a position where he can steal from you. You keep your money away from him. Keep your watch, your jewelry away from him. Listen, I got a cousin that's a thief, man. I got a cousin that's a thief. She's a girl, and every time she comes to my mom's house, everyone's holding their pockets, and everyone who leaves their bag in the hallway, listen, your money's gone, man. She'll rob and she will lie and say it wasn't her, and she'll put on the waterworks and cry and say it wasn't me, and her mom defends her. And listen, man, every time every time I used to come around to my mom's, I used to lock the door, man. She stole from me plenty of times, but what do? Forgive her by not taking vengeance. Now, sometimes you want to lose your mind, but obviously you can't, because the Bible teaches forgiveness. Go ahead. Go read that again.
Therefore is the kingdom of heaven likened unto a certain king, which would take account of his servants.
Oh, no, that's it on that. Was this a different one you wanted? No, oh, yeah, that's it on that. Take me back to... Go ahead.
So how will the disciple Thomas permit such Haushai in John 20:27 as opposed to what was said in John 20:17?
Read John 20:17. Is that the one when he goes there, don't touch me because I ain't ascended back to my father yet? Give me 1 second. Let me find it. So it's like I say it again. One sec. I think I remember this one briefly. One sec.
27 verses. Start. Do 17. Jump to 7.
Start from 7. One sec. Do you remember this one? Give me 1 second. Oh yeah, read it. 2017.
Okay, John 20 and 17.
Go ahead.
John 20 and 17. Yahweh said unto her, touch me not, for I am not yet ascended to my Father.
So he said, touch me not, for I have not yet ascended to my Father. Go ahead.
But go to my brethren.
So he said, touch me not, I ain't been to my Father yet. So go to my brethren. Go ahead.
I say unto them, I ascend unto my Father and your Father, and to my God and your God.
And he goes, I go up to my Father, to your God and my God. So he's saying, touch me not, for I have not ascended. Go ahead. Meaning he ain't been to the Father yet. Read on. Yeah, get to 27.
27.
But, no. Read start from 26.
26. And after 8
and
days.
And after what?
8 days.
After what?
8 days.
So this is after 8 days, which means what? He must have ascended to his Father and came back. Go ahead.
Again, the disciples were with him, and Thomas with them.
So this is after 8 days. What he said in this verse, and then this is 8 days later. Go ahead.
Then came Yahweh.
So he said to no. What did he say to us? Say to his disciples what?
To go to his brethren.
So he said, go to my brethren and tell them I ascend to my Father. So she must have gone and told them that I ascend to her Father. These are saying they don't believe it, whatnot. Thomas is saying unless they touch the marks. So obviously after that, he must have ascended to his Father. Then here is when they see him. Go ahead. And this is why he was able to touch him. Verse which is 27. Start from 26.
After 8 days again, his disciples were with him, and Thomas with them. Then came Yahweh, the doors being shut, and stood in the midst, and said, peace be unto you. Then
So he said, Shalom, go ahead.
Then said he to Thomas, reach hither with thy finger.
And he said, reach hither with thy finger. So now this is when Thomas touched him. It wasn't the same day that Mary couldn't touch him. That was 8 days before. And this is 8 days later. Go ahead.
And behold my hands, and reach thither thy hand, and thrust it into my side.
And he said, thrust it into my side. Go ahead.
And be not faithless, but believing.
And be not faithless, but believing. And also, after Christ died, pull me the one in Revelations where it goes like a lamb that was slain. You know that one? Pull me that one in Revelations. After Yahushua died on the cross, I can't remember where it is, but we're about to pull the one in Revelations also. When he ascends back to his Father. So after what you read in here, this is Saint John the 20th chapter. So this is before Christ ascends to his Father. Now we're going to show you from Revelations when they did go back to the Father. Go ahead.
Revelation 5 and 6.
Yeah,
and
sounds
I
right.
beheld him lo, in the midst of the throne of 4 beasts, and in the midst of the elders stood a lamb as it been slain.
Stood a what?
A lamb as it been slain.
So now this is when Christ did ascend up. After that, looked like a what?
Lamb as it been slain.
Lamb as it had been slain, meaning what? He had all them marks on him. He had all them holes in his hands. He had all them bruises that they gave him the slash on his side and whatnot. And that's what it says here. It appeared as it was a lamb that had been slain, because that lamb is Christ. Go ahead. Anyone that is that it? Yeah, and then that's why. So this is when he went back to the Father, and then that's why Thomas was able to touch him in the book of John. Give me where was we before that? No, I think we finished up on that. Give me Deuteronomy 25 and verse 5. Any more questions? Just type them in.
Deuteronomy 25 and 5. If brethren dwell together, and one of them died.
Now obviously nowadays no one ain't gonna do this now, because obviously we've been got English culture and whatnot. Whereas this was brotherhood back then. Go ahead.
And have no child.
So if there be brethren that dwell together and one dies and has no child, meaning this man's got a rib and they got no children together. Go ahead.
The wife of the dead shall not marry without unto a stranger.
So the wife of the dead, that man's wife, she ain't supposed to marry out of his immediate family. She's supposed to marry his brother or something, so they can raise up a child for that brother, which is brotherhood. Go ahead. Like nowadays it sounds nasty, right? It sounds horrible, right? Nowadays it sounds horrible, but in the law it is righteous. But obviously we've been British culture, so we don't know what brotherhood really is. Go ahead. So this is why every so often it's only right we go over the law and we go over what our culture is and what our customs was. Because over time you lose them, and certain things you start to do, you start to frown upon it. Like, I ain't doing that. If you lose your way, because obviously as a nation we've lost our way. Go ahead.
For husband brother shall go in unto her and take her to him to wife.
And listen, man, what the Lord's saying is, you know what? For the sake of brotherhood, and because this is your brother's rib, he's dead now. And who's going to take care of her? She's got no children. She's got no mansons that can bring in money and whatnot. So you must take her under your belt. You're doing this because you love your brother, and you wouldn't want the woman that he loved. You wouldn't want to see her struggling. You wouldn't want to see her barely surviving. You wouldn't want to see her with nothing, just mourning all day long. So the Lord's saying you should take her under your wing. Now that's if your brother didn't have no children. Go ahead.
God. And perform the duty of a husband.
And do what?
Perform the duty of a husband's brother unto her.
And so you need to so there's a law which is in place, man. You perform the duty of a husband's brother unto her. This was back then. Obviously, people ain't going to do that now because they don't understand our culture and our customs. So the Lord doesn't, even that woman, the Lord's saying, you know what? For the sake of your brother's passed away. He's got no kids. And this is the woman that he loved. You take her under your wing, man. Go ahead.
And it shall be that the firstborn which she beareth shall succeed the name of his brother.
And it shall what?
It shall be that the firstborn which she beareth shall succeed in the name of his brother.
So you will lie with her and she'll get pregnant, and this son, you take care of him, but it's not your son, it's your brother's son. This son is your brother's son. Anyone asks, this is such and such his son. Just so your brother will always have a name in Israel, man. Just so your brother's memory won't ever fade out of Israel. Just so that your brother's memory will go on, that this is the son of, this is the grandson of. He died having no kids, but you raise up a kid in his stead. This kid belongs to your brother. Go ahead. Which is also brotherhood.
Which is dead, that his name be not put out of Israel.
That his name be not put out of Israel, man. Meaning what? That his memory will go on and whatnot. Go ahead.
And if the man like not to take his brother's wife.
And now the Lord's saying, if a man refuses to do it, listen, you're not doing this for your own sake. You're doing this for your brother. And if you loved your brother and you didn't want his name to be blotted out Israel and no more in existence, you would do this, man. Obviously, nowadays, you're not going to do it because this society is all different and whatnot. Go ahead. Your mom will look at you like, huh? And so forth. Go ahead.
Then let his brother's wife go to the gate unto the elders and say.
So now, if you refuse to perform that duty of marriage to your brother's wife, obviously, you don't do this while he's alive. That's adultery and you will get stoned to death. This is talking about if he passes away, man, and he's got no kids. If he's got kids, that's different. But if he dies with no kids, that's what this is talking about. And then if you refuse to do it, she'll go to the elders. Go ahead.
And say, my husband's brother refuses to raise up unto his brother a name in Israel. And
it says, my husband's brother refuses to raise up a name for his brother in Israel. She will go to the elders and say that. Go ahead.
He will not perform the duty of a husband's brother.
So there's a law on the duty of a husband's brother, man. Go ahead.
Then the elders of the city shall call him and speak unto him.
So the elders of that city, your priests and whatnot, they'll call him and speak to him. They'll be like, yo, you sure? You notice the law, right? You know it's written in the book of Deuteronomy that you must do A, B, and C. They're going to speak to him and, say to him, yo, why not? Go ahead.
And if he stands to it and say, I like not to take her.
And then if he stands to it, because he's got he didn't love his brother the way he claimed he did, and he stands by, I'm not doing this. Go ahead.
Then shall his brother's wife come unto him in the presence of the elders.
And then that woman's going to come up to him in the presence of the elders. Go ahead.
And loose his shoe from off his foot.
And then to loose a man's shoe off his foot was disrespect. So she would take his shoe off his foot and spit in his face. Go ahead.
And spit in his face.
So that was a disrespect back then. That's what you would get for not performing the duty of marriage. And then everybody would know you. You see him there. He didn't even want to raise up a son for his brother, man. He didn't want his brother's name to go on because he's so selfish and only cares about himself. And you're either known as the man in Israel that had his shoe loosed off his foot, which was a disrespect back then. Go ahead.
And shall answer and say, so shall it be unto that man that will not build up his brother's house.
So shall it what?
Be unto that man that shall not build up his brother's house.
And some of these things that we're reading right now, it don't sound familiar to you, but this is our culture and our customs. It might sound weird to you now because obviously nowadays you don't do that, obviously. Because go ahead. Yeah, exactly. You have that stigma on you that you're a snitch or a homosexual. People look at you like that, like that man there, and so forth. People look at you like that. What verse you at? That's right. Yeah, give me a Deuteronomy chapter 14 and verse 22. And also, that woman, she's got no one else to help her because she's been married. Her husband's dead. They've got no kids, which means all that whatever he was doing to help them survive, he can no longer do it because he's not around no more. And then because you love your brother, same like people say every time. Every time, what people say is, "Oh, my brother's died, but I'm a raise his son like the mines." You know, when people say it, obviously the difference is the Lord wants you to actually do it. He don't want you to just say it. In the world, people say it. Listen, man. P Diddy said it about biggest kids, man. P Diddy said, "Oh, I'm gonna take care of them." P Diddy's a millionaire, and then it came out that P Diddy ain't gave them a damn penny, man. You hear about that? He didn't give them a penny. P Diddy didn't give them nothing, man. Biggie was his so-called brother, man. Them kids' mom said what? P Diddy don't even answer our calls. P Diddy's making all this money off our dad's name and ain't giving us a penny. The Lord don't want us to be like P Diddy dancing around like an idiot in videos, man. The Lord don't want you to just say it like P Diddy dancing around in a silly suit, man. The Lord wants you to actually carry it out. That's what the Lord wants. Not for you to just say, I'm going to take you on as my own, I'm going to do this. The Lord would prefer you to carry it out, man, not just talk it. Because everybody talks it, but nobody does it, man. Everybody gets the point. Go ahead.
Thou shalt truly tithe all the increase of thy seed.
Actually, hold on. I got one more I need to hit before that. Give me a... Let me see if I can find it. Give me a... Actually, I should read on. We'll do this one first.
Thou shalt truly tithe all the increase of thy seed.
Go ahead.
That the field bringeth forth year by year.
Listen, this was this was back then when we knew about these things, when we done cultivation, because we was what farmers, right? We was farmers and whatnot, husbandmen. That's what they called it back then. Looked after vineyards and vineyards and all of those things. But nowadays, obviously, we ain't got none of these things. So reading some of these scriptures to us, it don't make sense to it don't resonate with our brain because obviously we in captivity. So a man telling you, yeah, your land's gonna bring in this much each year. We don't know what the hell that means because obviously we're slaves and whatnot. Go ahead.
And thou shalt eat before the Lord thy God in the place which he shall choose to place his name.
And there will be a place where the Lord will be like, all right, then he'll tell the prophets like, this is the spot I choose. We'll come to them, vision and whatnot. This is the spot I choose. Go ahead.
The tithe of thy corn, of thy wine, of thy oil, and of thy birth.
And the Lord wanted you to do all of this. Go ahead.
And of the flocks, that thou mayest learn to fear the Lord thy God always.
And you would do all this to fear God, man. You would give up whatever the Lord tells you to give up. Go ahead.
And if the way be too long for thee, so that thou art not able to carry it, or if the place be too far from thee, which the Lord thy God shall choose to set his name there, when the Lord thy God hath blessed thee, then thou shalt turn it to money and bind it in thine hand. So listen, you would turn it to money. If it was too far to carry, you would sell it to someone like, you know what, I can't carry all this, I'm gonna sell you this for blah blah blah. Kind of like, you know, when you move in house and people sell the sofas, people will sell the sofas, the TV stand, because they can't be asked to pay for the removal van and it's all long, or maybe they want to start afresh. Go ahead. And thou shalt go into that place which the Lord thy God shall choose, and thou shalt bestow that money for whatsoever thy soul lusteth after. And listen, man, people say that what? You can't have what you like. The Lord said do what? And thou shalt bestow that money for whatsoever thy soul lusteth after. Listen, man, people think that being a Hebrew Israelite, you're not allowed to have nice things, man. The Lord said what? And thou shalt bestow that money for whatsoever thy soul lusteth after. Listen, man, whatever you want, you can buy it, man. It's just make sure it's lawful, man. Just make sure it's lawful. The Lord's talking to men that keep the laws here.
He ain't talking to your pastor that's gonna read this and say, well, my soul's lost enough the horse. He ain't talking to men like that, man. He ain't talking to men like Michael Jackson that's saying, oh, his soul's lost enough to little boys. So he buys a Neverland rap. He ain't talking to men like that. He's talking to men that keep his laws. So what happens is, if you keep God's laws, everything your soul is gonna lust over is gonna be lawful, man. So don't get it twisted. People think lust is what? People think all lust is wicked and evil. Nah, man, it's not, man. Listen, you could be at work lusting for your wife, man, thinking I can't wait to get home, man. you can be at work thinking it's been a long day, and your wife sends you a picture, and you turn the brightness up on the screen so you can see it properly, and you be I can't wait to get home, man. You could be like, yo, it's not a sin to want that, man. It's just a sin when you're lusting over another man's woman, man. That's when it becomes a sin. But if it's your own woman, go ahead.
They say 20 times the money.
Exactly.
And then when it goes, you can buy what you lost. So they'll talk about you. Talk about the priest buys what you lost. Keep you, it says, and you shall eat.
Yeah, exactly. Go ahead.
Oxen, or for sheep, or for wine, or for strong drink.
Or for what?
Strong drink.
Listen, man. It's not against God for a black man to have a strong drink, man. You're allowed to have a strong drink. Just don't have too much. Just don't be an alcoholic, man. That's all. I mean, with the Bible, things that is lawful, you have to moderate it. Like, what happens if you drink too much strong drink? You're going to get drunk and you're going to do some crazy stuff. You're going to have so much strong drink that you end up having sex with some stranger that you've never met, that you don't even know. You used to ain't even exchange numbers, but used to having sex in the alleyway. And then what did they used to say, Crawford? Blame it on the alcohol. Is that what they used to say? Blame it on the alcohol. Blame it on yourself, man. No one told you to drink that much. Don't blame it on the damn alcohol. Listen, there's brothers who know how to moderate their alcohol, who don't get drunk, who don't behave silly and whatnot. Now, if you can't control your drink, then strong drink's not for you. Like, there's some things which is lawful, but if you can't moderate and control yourself, then don't do it, man. All things that are lawful ain't expedient. Meaning what? An alcoholic will read this and say, well, the Bible said they could have strong drink. Listen, the Bible also says don't have an inordinate affection, man. An inordinate affection is too big, meaning your affection for something is too big. So you get drunk out your head, get drunk. And that's all you do for a living, drinking Frosty Jack on the bench. Listen, man, the Lord don't want you to do that, but you're entitled to a strong drink every so often, man. I mean, we have strong drinks every so often, but does it mean we have one every day? No. Does it mean we have to start the day with a strong drink? No. Does it mean we have to end the day with a strong drink? No. You moderate it, man. Do it in moderation. Go ahead.
Or whatsoever thy desireth, and thou shalt eat there before the Lord thy God.
Go ahead.
And thou shalt rejoice, thou and thine house.
And basically with that means pay your tithes, pay your priest funds, donate money to the school, priest funds and whatnot, man. Do all of that, man. Listen, Crawford, all the time I hear everyone say, oh, yeah, you like need a bigger school. Listen, give us the money and we will get the bigger school, man. Give us the money and we'll buy Buckingham Palace, man. If you give us the money, you can't be not giving no money and telling us we need something bigger. Listen, give us the money and we will get it, man. Can't be thrown in your 2 cents and not thrown in your 2 cents. Listen, man, this is what you need to do. Less of the talking and send that money, man. And then we will get a bigger building. We'll get a bigger building which fits what you want. We'll get a bigger building with bigger doors and bigger seating area. But if you ain't sending no money, I mean, what can we do? Think about that next time before everyone wants to say, oh, get a bigger building, get this, get that. Give us the money and we will get it, man. The only thing that's stopping us is you not sending your money, man. Go ahead.
And at the end of 3 years,
what verse you at? Go ahead.
And the Levite that is within thy gates, thou shalt not forsake him. He have no part nor inheritance. So
listen, everybody knows with the Levites, they didn't get no part or inheritance. That tribe was set apart. The Lord took that tribe for them to be the priests, so they ain't got no inheritance. Their job is doing the work of the Lord, and it was for the people to take care of the priests. It was for the other Israelites that had inheritance, that had land, that had farms. Their job was to take care of the priests. And listen, man, come and take care of the priests in the I.S.U.P.K, man. Ain't nothing changed. Go ahead.
At the end of 3 years, thou shalt bring all thy tithes of an increase the same
After
year,
3 years, man, you'll bring all of that. Go ahead.
and shall lay up within thy gates, and the Levite, because he have no part in inheritance with thee.
And listen, man, that's how the Levites would eat, man. You would bring them sacrifices, them animals and whatnot. God don't eat them, but the priests do, man. The priests would eat that lamb, the oxen, and so forth, man. The priest would drink that drink offering, man. Listen, the priest would drink that wine and kvassier and that, man. The priest would have that drink offering. Like in church, they make it like the Lord drinks it, right?
God.
They think the Lord drinks it. Nah, man, it don't work like that, man. You bring that to the priest because the priest ain't got no inheritance, which means what? He can't go out and make a living the way you can because he's doing the work of the Lord. So because he's doing the work of the Lord, your tithes will take care of him, man. Your tithes will so the Levites could eat, so the Levites could drink, so the Levites could survive. If you don't take care of the priests, all the priests in your city would die of starvation, man. So it's our job to take care of the priests. That's what it was. Go ahead.
And the stranger, and the fatherless, and the widow.
And that's also for the fatherless. You know why? Because kids with no father, they've got no one to, show them the ropes. No one to show them how to cultivate the land. No one to show them how to turn this into money. So that food there, it's not just for the priests, it would be for the fatherless, man. For the poor of Israel and so forth. And that's what Commanding General YAHANNA does with the tithes, takes care of the fatherless, the poor of Israel, man. The same thing that the priest was doing, we're doing it right now because we them same priests, man. Them same priests back then, we them same priests. The priest after what Melchizedek. That's who we are, man. The priest after the order of Melchizedek, man. Meaning what? Oh, priest is from all tribes now, not just Levites. So that's the same thing. Go ahead.
Which are within thy gate shall come, shall eat and be satisfied.
Shall eat and be satisfied, man. Because imagine you've got no father, you don't know where the hell to start. So all these people, their tithes and that food and whatnot, at least you've got food to eat, man. At least you've got a plate of food. That's how we used to deal with one another. There would be no fatherless person living in some damn homeless shelter not knowing how they're going to eat. Because we would make sure there's food for brothers to eat. We would make sure none of us is starving. Make sure that the brother that's waxing poor's got food. That's what we used to do. That's how we used to treat one another. The Lord wants us to treat each other like that in the law. You can drop that for time's sake. Give me Leviticus chapter 19 and verse 26. So we're going to go into another law about edge ups and whatnot.
Leviticus 19:26. Ye shall not eat anything with the blood.
Ye shall what?
Not eat anything with the blood.
The Lord told us don't eat anything with blood in, man. Meaning what? Your meat. You're meant to cook your meat properly or drain the blood, man. The food that you have, you ain't supposed to see your steak swimming around in blood on the plate and eating it raw and whatnot. Because the Lord don't want us eating blood. Because in the blood is the life. Go ahead.
Neither shalt thou use enchantments, nor observe times.
Neither shall thou use enchantments, nor observe times. We ain't supposed to be doing zodiac signs. We ain't supposed to be going to those people that you esteem as spiritual, even though what they're doing ain't spiritual. It's just evil and they're just lying to you and getting your money. You ain't supposed to go to those people, a palm reader, all of those things. You ain't supposed to go to a fortune teller. You ain't supposed to go and try and communicate with the dead. Obviously, the Lord don't want his people doing that. Go ahead.
Nor shall you round the corners of your head.
Nor shall you what?
Round the corners of your head.
So to round the corners of your head is what? Razor in it and cutting beyond the natural line and whatnot. The Lord don't want us to get these shape ups. Now, if you know anything about shape ups, if you go before the what? The 40s and the 50s, black men didn't really have shape ups and lineups. What black men would have then was afros, man. You've seen your granddad's old pictures when he had the Cadillac. When you had the Cadillac, when they had that high afro, when all of them looked like Marvin Gaye with that Marvin Gaye afro. That's how black men was back then, had the Marvin Gaye afro. And then the 60s, and then rappers started getting these edge ups, and ever since then it's just stuck. Back then they saw edge ups as it's a way to be neater, it's a way to look smarter, whereas the Lord told us we ain't supposed to round our hairlines, man. Well, we ain't supposed to cut beyond the natural hairline. You ain't supposed to line it up with a razor and whatnot, because that weren't our customs or culture. That was the heathens' culture. What we would have was afros, man. and they would just have their afros growing out natural, and they would just afro comb it and leave it. And then over time, the 60s, 70s, it turned into lineups, and then now lineups is like now lineups is as you see, like back in the days, telling the man about lineups, he would look at you like, why would they even do that? Whereas in our generation, skinny jeans was looked upon, but nowadays skinny jeans is what the in thing, right? Nowadays skinny jeans is the in thing, and whereas you go back 20 years ago, a man saying, yeah, wear these skinny jeans, you're gonna look at them like, are you crazy? Whereas, but nowadays, they push it with all these rappers, so everything's become tighter. Lineups is the new thing, and then same how lineups are stuck. Now skinny jeans is gonna stick, whereas our generation looks at it like, nah, we never done those things. Those things is mad tight and uncomfortable, and your balls need space to breathe. Excuse my French. These balls need space to breathe and whatnot. That's how we looked at it. But nowadays, this next generation, it's the in thing because that's what they've grown up on. Same like lineups. Once it was a thing that we never done, but now it's pushed by rappers and everyone's got them, and then it's just stuck. So the Lord tells us that we ain't supposed to have lineups. We ain't supposed to cut beyond the natural hairline, man. You ain't supposed to grab your razor and line it up. The Lord wants it natural. Now, does that mean you can't get your hair cut? No, it don't. Of course you can get your hair cut, but you just can't edge it up and line it up. That's not our culture or our customs, man. Go ahead.
Neither shall thou mar the corners of your beard.
Neither shall thou mar the corners of your beard. You ain't supposed to line up your beard. You see men nowadays with a thin, you see that thin beard like this? It's thin. It's like one strand, just a strand going all the way. This looks so gay. Like, listen, man, the Lord don't want you with that damn thin strand beard. The Lord don't want you with it. Just so it's about this thin. Have you seen it? It's about this thin. There's one line here. It's just this thin lines up with the sideburns. Listen, man, the Lord don't want you with that one strand silly beard. The Lord don't want you to mar it. The Lord don't want you to disfigure your beard. Now, if you did want to trim your beard down with scissors and whatnot, of course you can trim your beard down. You don't have to have your beard down to the floor if you don't want. You can trim it down, but lining it up ain't an option. The Lord don't want his people having line up and edge ups. It seems so weird, like to us, like, why can't they get it? It's only a haircut. It's only shaving my beard and lining it up. That's what it seems like living in England, because England forces you to adapt to their culture and whatnot. But the Lord wants you to keep your own culture. So the Lord don't want you having lineups. The Lord don't want you having that thin beard and shaping it up and whatnot. Go ahead.
You shall not make any cuttings in your flesh for the dead.
You shall what?
Not make any cuttings in your flesh for the dead.
You shall not make any cuttings in your flesh for the dead. So you see how them African tribes have all them tribal scars and they cut themselves and beat themselves and for the dead. The Lord don't want you to do that, man. The Lord don't want you to scar up yourself for the dead and say, oh, I slashed my arm because of blah, 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 blah. The Lord don't want us to do that. Them things ain't our culture. The Lord don't want you putting any cuttings in your flesh for the dead. And this is the thing, man. I hear fake Israelites say, oh, what did they say about this one?
Oh, cause you flesh.
They say some nonsense about it. Listen, man. It's not talking about what they say it's talking about, because listen, Solomon had earrings, man, and ain't an earring putting up. It talks about don't put cuttings in your flesh for the dead. So you're allowed to have your ears pierced, man, because that's not for the dead, and so forth. You're allowed to have, your nose pierced. I don't see why anyone would want it, but obviously you can if you want, and so forth. But it says don't put cuttings in your flesh for the dead. It tells you there. Go ahead.
Nor print any marks upon you.
Nor print any marks upon you. These marks is what? Tattoos, man. In the translation for marks in another language translates to tattoo. So if you look at the word tattoo, I can't remember which language or culture it is. You look up the word tattoo and it means mark. So you ain't supposed to print no marks upon you. And to print is what? You have a tattoo needle and everybody prints the same tattoo. Everybody's got on their arm, praying arms, only God can judge me. I've seen that tattoo like a million times, man. You seen it? Everyone's got that tattoo. Everybody's got that tattoo, man. Praying hands like this, only God can judge me. Everyone's got that tattoo, man. The Lord don't want you to print no marks upon you. The Lord don't want you to have no tattoos and so forth. That's what the Lord don't want, man. None of that stuff. Is there any more on that? One second. So yeah, no lineups, no tattoos. So today we're just going through some laws that most people probably don't know, but you will know them. The more you come to class, the more you log into class, you'll know them and you become familiar with them. And then before you know it, you'll be implementing them in your life. You start doing what you was doing. Go ahead.
Verse 29. Do not prostitute thy daughter.
Do what?
Do not prostitute thy daughter.
Do not prostitute thy daughter, man. That's a big one. Don't allow your daughter to be a whore, man. Don't over-sexualize your daughter. Because what happens? A lot of women over-sexualize their daughter. And then guess what happens, man? She grows up to be the biggest whore the world's ever seen. Swinging from a pole. On the back of that, hold that, but give me Ecclesiasticus chapter 26 and verse 10. The Bible says, don't prostitute your daughter, man. Listen, you need to teach your daughter not to be a whore. But obviously, we don't teach our daughters not to be whores. So guess what happens? They be having sex in the house while you're at work, man. You're at work, they be having sex in the house, man. How do I know, man? Because before I was in the truth, when I was in the world, I was up in some nigga's crib when he's at work, man. So lucky. We was up in them cribs, man, before the truth, thinking, yeah, this is the right thing to do. Knowing and go. Listen, if you're a man with a daughter and you work nights, and I feel sorry for you. What do you think your daughter's doing on them nights, man? She's got another man in your bed, man. And then you come home and you smell the Febreze. You're just thinking she cleaned up the house. Nah, man. You're just thinking I got a good daughter that cleaned up the house. Nah, man. She's getting rid of that sex smell, man. She's getting rid of that sex aroma smell in the air, man. The windows open, Febreze in the air. That's what she's doing, man. So it's only right we raise our kids right and don't prostitute our daughters and don't over-sexualize our daughters. Because what happens? Women over-sexualize their daughters. They let them get their nails painted at 6 years old. Let them put on lipstick. Listen, man, you just basically training them to grow older and be a whore, man. You're training them to grow older and open their legs to every man. And then guess what happens? When they get pregnant at 16, you're crying, why? It was her father's fault. Listen, man, it's not her father's fault because he wasn't around, man. If she goes to university, you don't give him credit for not being around. You take all the credit yourself, man. Yeah, my daughter graduated. But when your daughter turns into a whore, what happens? Oh, it's that black man's fault. It's his fault. How's it his fault if he ain't been around? Everything she's learned is from you. She's learned to put on miniskirts from you. She's learned to paint her toenails and her fingernails at the age of 6 from you. She sees you powdering your face every day in the mirror. What do you think she's going to do? Powder her face, put on makeup. And then before you know it, she's going to be a full-blown whore, having sex with everybody. And your friend's sons is going to be having sex with her and whispering, saying, oh, yeah, she's loose. This is what they're going to be saying. Let's invite her around. She'll sleep with all 4 of us. That's what they're going to be saying, man. Your daughter's going to be the girl in the community that everyone knows. When they're feeling horny, yeah, just get her around, give her some drinks and she'll come. Give her some white rum and she'll open her legs to everyone. We need to raise our daughters better than that, man. Because if we don't, what's going to happen? Our nation will be full of whores. And then before you know it, everybody's kids ain't going to be their kids. Because this woman's done open her legs to 50 different men. She's on the Jeremy Carr show 50 different times, man. Want more for your kids than that, man. Go ahead.
Ecclesiasticus 26:10. If thy daughter be shameless.
If what?
If thy daughter be shameless.
So if you've got a daughter that's shameless, your daughter that's got no shame, think she's all she cares about is makeup and weave and wants to be beautiful. Listen, understand this. They're doing all of this, so what? They can be beautiful in the eyes of men, man. They're doing all this so men can find them attractive. And all a man has to do is compliment a woman. Oh, listen, all a man has to say to a woman nowadays, yo, you see your body's good. I'd love to deal with you. And then she gets happy, he's thinking, oh, he wants to have sex with me. He messages me every night. He messages me, hey, queen, every night. Maybe I should give him some. And then before you know it, your daughter's having sex with this man and this man and this man. Until guess what happens, man? She's had sex with so many men that no next man's going to ever take her serious. Want more for your daughter than that for your daughter just to be some dumb loudmouth baby mother, man. For your daughter to just be some dumb loudmouth baby mother putting every man on child support, talking about he ain't seen his kids, dropping the kids off at 3 different men's houses, man. 3 different baby fathers. Raise your kids better than that, man. Go ahead.
Keep her in straightly.
Do what?
Keep her in straightly.
All these hoes around the summertime that was talking about hot girl summer. Listen, man. If you ever get wind of your daughter talking about a hot girl summer, her summer should be doing the dishes and cleaning the house, man. Her summer should be her locked in the house, man, where she can't open her legs to no man, man. If she's shameless, man, keep them inside, man. Give them chores to do instead of letting them run around town in miniskirts. Listen, man, I work in town and do you know who I see? All these little school kids running around in their skimpy clothing, man. Running around like whores, man. And guess who it always is? Always our children doing it, man. Running around like whores, standing outside the KFC with boys, man. Hugging and kissing boys outside the KFC, man. Listen, man, want more for your kids than that? Go ahead.
Lest she abuse herself.
Lest what?
Lest she abuse herself.
Listen, man, if you don't keep your daughters in straightly, you don't teach them these laws, they're going to abuse themselves, meaning they're going to have sex with every man they can have sex with. And they're just going to see it. They're going to turn into Cardi B talking about, I have sex with him and I get some money. And they're going to be swinging from a pole. And guess what's going to be happening? Your same friends is going to be trying to have sex with your daughter, man. Your same friends who you thought was your boys is going to be trying to have sex with your daughter. They're going to say, you know what? Let me give her some money and maybe she won't say. Go ahead.
Over much liberty.
Over what?
Through over much liberty.
Liberty is like freedom, man. Don't give your daughters too much freedom. Too much freedom means what? You're not giving them a curfew. You're not telling them when to be in the house, when to do this, when to do that. All that freedom, your daughter's going to come in pregnant at 14 years old. And guess what? You're going to be ashamed. Everyone's going to be like, such and such is pregnant. And she don't know who the father is. And you're going to be ashamed. And it's your fault because you gave her all that liberty. So don't give them all that freedom. Go ahead. She'll respect you for it later on in life. She might cry about it and I'll say, oh, my dad's so strict. You don't tolerate this. At least your daughter won't be some whore, man. You rather not tolerate it than tolerate it. And then you do tolerate your daughter be some whore. Eventually she ends up on crack. She ends up getting spiked in the club. You know how much women's been spiked in the club? Plenty of women get spiked in the club and get carried home by some man and they don't remember what happened the next day. Don't let your daughter be that girl, man. Go ahead.
Watch over an imprudent eye.
Watch over, man. Watch over your kids, man. Watch over what they're doing. Watch over your kids on the internet, man. All these groomers on the internet telling them do this and do that. Yeah, your kids trying to meet some grooming gang and whatnot. Watch over your kids with an impudent eye. Watch over them. Go ahead.
And marvel not if they trespass against you.
And don't be surprised if they trespass against you, man. Discipline your kids. Go ahead.
Karen, she will open her mouth as a thirsty traveler.
Sure, what?
Open her mouth as a thirsty traveler.
She'll open her mouth as a thirsty traveler, man. What does that mean, man? A thirsty traveler does what? Anywhere he sees water, he goes and has that water, man. Listen, your daughter's going to be thirsty, man. Anywhere she sees a man, she's going to open her legs, man. She's going to open her mouth as a thirsty traveler, meaning she's going to be blowing everybody's rod. Excuse my French, man. Excuse my French. A thirsty traveler does what? He's a traveler, so he ain't got access to water, so he's traveling. And where he sees water, he opens his mouth and drinks some of that water. Listen, man. Your daughter's going to be thirsty for a man, and she's going to open her mouth and pull it on every man's rod, man. Go ahead.
When he has found a fountain.
When you have what?
Found a fountain.
Listen, when your daughter finds them ballers in the club, she's going to open her mouth as a thirsty traveler in that VIP, man. She's going to open their mouth for a drink, a sip of their Ciroc, and for a sip of their rod. Excuse my French, read.
And drink every water.
And listen, man, she's going to what?
Drink every water near it.
Listen, you've seen these hoes out here. I'm just trying to stop your daughter from being a whore, man. Just, get them in class, apply these scriptures, and you have to have that problem, man. Go ahead.
Every hedge will she sit down.
Every what?
Every hedge will she sit down.
Every hedge will she sit down, man. Everywhere she's going to sit down, man. Everywhere she finds a man, that's where she's going to be. You're going to see her at Sugar Sweet this week. You're going to see her there next week. You're going to see her at 101. You're going to see her at Zara's. She's going to be in every club. And what women tend to do is try to get on the ballers table. You know that, right? They try to get on the ballers table. The men that are there with the bottles, all these women go there with no money in their purse, thinking, you know what? I'm dressed like a whore, so they must call us on the table. Then they're going back to some man's hotel. Go ahead.
And open her quiver against every arrow.
Every man, she's going to open her legs to men. We're just trying to stop your daughter from being a whore. Go back to Leviticus chapter 19.
Leviticus 19.
Go to verse 35.
Verse 35. Ye shall do no unrighteousness in judgment.
You shall do what?
No unrighteousness in judgment.
The Lord don't want us to do no unrighteousness in judgment, because the Lord cares about brotherhood, man. You do unrighteousness in judgment, you're perversing the court of justice, man. Go ahead.
In meat yard.
In what?
Meat yard.
A meat yard is a measuring device. So if someone's buying land off you, don't be telling the nigga this is 50 acres and really it's 42 acres. The Lord don't want you doing them scams. Listen, everybody that tries to do things, they're hussier and lightier. The Lord don't want us doing no unrighteousness in meat yard, man. If you're telling a brother, you know what? it's this much. It's this much acres. Make sure it actually is that much acres. Go ahead.
In weight or in measure.
In weight or in measure. The Lord don't want you. If you're telling someone, yeah, it's this and whatnot. Listen, drug dealers rob people all the time. They rob people all the time in weight. They'll tell you it's a kilo, man, and it's not. you weighing it, and it's not weighing up to what they're telling you it is, man. The Lord don't want you to do no unjust judgments and whatnot. You're telling the brother, you know what? I'm selling you this much fair. Make sure it is actually that much, man. The Lord don't want us to do unjust measures. Go ahead.
Also, a lot of Indian man usually can change the plaque on the car.
Oh yeah. The mileage, yeah. Exactly like you're selling a car. Don't be telling the brother the mileage is only 30,000 when really, you know, this has been around the clock 2 times. You've just put the clock back. If you want to sell a heaving it, go ahead. But obviously, the Lord don't want you to deal with your brothers like that, man. Because what will happen is that man's going to find out one day and he's going to come back to you. The Lord's telling you these things to stop offenses happening, man. To stop these things happening. You just follow it. You just tell him, be straight up with a brother. That's what the Lord wants you to do. Go ahead.
Just balance.
Just balance. Go ahead.
Just ether.
An ether is what? Something you measure grain in, right? An ether is something you measure grain in, man. If you're telling the brother, yo, there's this much grains in there's this much grain in there, make sure there is that much grain in there, man. Don't be trying to show him and whatnot. The Lord don't want you to do that, man. The Lord, put it this way. What the Lord's saying here is don't be a crook. That's what the Lord's saying, man. The Lord's saying don't be a crook. Don't defraud your brother. The Lord wants us to fly straight and do everything righteous, man. He don't want us to be unjust. I mean, people hate the Bible. How can you hate this when the Lord's telling you just deal with everyone fairly, man? When the Lord's telling you don't be a scam artist. You should love the Bible because surely you hate to get scammed, right? The Lord's put this in place so you don't get scammed, man. This is in place so I don't rob you, man. These laws is in place so I don't break into your house and rob your TV, man. Because before commanding General Yohanna, I was a burglar, so lucky, excuse my French. I'll be in your house through that window, man. These laws is in place so someone like me don't come through your window, man. So you should love the Bible. People hate the Bible, and the Bible is good, man. It's perfect. This right here is just so the Lord's telling us don't be crooks to one another, man. Don't be unjust to one another. Don't scam one another. That's what the Lord's telling us. I mean, how can you be mad at that? How can you call the Bible foolishness when the Lord's teaching you things in life that people are scamming you today and the Lord don't want you to get scammed? Go ahead.
I am the Lord thy God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt.
Listen, the Lord said, our power man that brought us out of Egypt. Go ahead.
Therefore thou shalt observe all my statutes and all my judgments and do them.
Go ahead.
The Lord.
Go ahead.
Verse 20, chapter 20, stuck here. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying,
what verse yet?
Chapter 20.
Jump back. Did you miss the part with the liquid part, the hin?
Okay, just wait to measure. Just balances, just weight, a just ether, and a just hin.
And a hin is what? Liquid form. So now, when you go to McDonald's, they don't give you a just hin, the skanky. You know what they tell you? They tell you the 0.5 liters in this cup, and 3/4 of it is ice, man. The Lord don't want you to do that, man. If McDonald's was following the Bible, they would make sure that the drink they give you is the right measurement, man. Did you know that if you see the large cup, you know if you pour the large cup in the medium cup, it's near enough the same amount? Listen, man. So you're paying extra and they're scamming you. The Lord don't want us to scam one another with that, man. So you see all these black shops where you're selling the Sky Juice and all these things, and you tell them it's 200 milliliters. Just make sure it's 200 milliliters, man. Because if it ain't 200 milliliters, you're breaking the laws of God. The Lord wants us to do a just hin and whatnot. Drop that. Give me Leviticus chapter 17 and verse 10.
Leviticus 17 and 10. Whatsoever man there be of the house of Israel, or of the strangers that sojourn among you. So the strangers that sojourn among you is Israelites that what? Is from another land. They didn't grow up around us. So they knew. Like if someone from London comes and moves next door to you, he's still a brother, but obviously he's a stranger because he's not from Birmingham. His accent's different and whatnot. His accent's different, and the way he talks and the way they say certain words. Like if you move to London, the way we say certain words is different. Like there's a certain Birmingham slang where Londoners laugh. I'll say, why do you not say that? Obviously we're strangers to them, so it's different. Go ahead. That eateth any manner of blood, I will set my face against that soul.
So any man that eateth any blood, the Lord will set his face against that soul. So all of this stuff, when you go to war with your enemies, and what did they do? Cut out their heart and drink the blood. That's what they do. I'm sure Muhammad used to do that, right? Used to drink their enemies' blood. The Lord saying, don't do that, man. We ain't supposed to do that. We ain't supposed to drink blood. Also, your food, don't be eating the blood in your food, man. Now, if the bone's a little bit red, that's not the blood. The blood is like running and whatnot. That's what it's talking about. Obviously, you can have a medium rare steak because that's not blood. It's just meat. It's just medium rare. It's not cooked or well done, but it's not running blood. It's talking about you drinking running blood. Go ahead.
And I will cut him off from among his people.
And the Lord will cut him off, man. Your Lord will cut you off for you drinking blood, man. Go ahead. Or you eating blood. You eating raw meat and whatnot, where the blood ain't even cooked through, where the food ain't cooked through. Go ahead.
The life of the flesh is in the blood.
For the life of the flesh is in the blood. And the Lord's giving you these reasons because what? The life of the flesh is in the blood, meaning blood is the life. And this is why when there's something wrong with you, you had to take blood tests, man. Because the blood test is the life. So they take a blood test, and from that blood test, they can find out what's wrong with you. Listen, all the diseases, they find out what's wrong with you by your blood tests. This is why the Lord said, don't drink blood or eat blood. These things is here so you don't get diseases, man. Blood and stuff comes with diseases. The disease that you have is in your blood, and that's why they test your blood. This is why they say, oh, go do a blood test. Because the blood is the life. And this is why most people die when they get stabbed and what? They don't die because of the stab wound. They die because what? The loss of blood. They die because they've lost so much blood. And this is why when you die, they try and stop the blood. They stem the wound to try and stop the blood. Go ahead.
Simple blood test can see if you have type O.
Exactly. Exactly. You can see if you
you
got AIDS. Go ahead. So the blood test, listen, the blood test works for all of that. And all these diseases that people have is in the blood because the blood is the life. Go ahead.
For the life of the flesh in the blood, and I have given it to you upon the altar.
And listen, man, because the life is the blood, this is why the Lord required blood on the altar. And this is why Christ's blood had to be shed for remissions of sins, because blood is the life. Go ahead.
To make an atonement for your souls. For it is the blood that maketh an atonement for your souls.
For it's the blood that makes an atonement, man. The blood makes an atonement. Go ahead.
Therefore I said unto the children of Israel, no soul that eateth blood, neither shall any stranger that sojourneth among you eat blood.
Listen, man. Don't let the people that sojourn among you, the Israelites, your brothers, don't let them eat blood, man. Go ahead.
And whatsoever man there be of the children of Israel, of a stranger that sojourneth among you, which hunteth and catcheth any beast or fowl that may be eaten, he shall even pour the blood thereof and cover it with dust.
And listen, man, even till Jamaica, till this day, that's what they do, man. You've seen them kill it and hang it upside down, right, and drain all the blood. They kill a goat, hang it upside down, drain all the blood, and just cover it with the dirt that's around or sand or whatever. That's what we're supposed to do, man. You drain all the blood out, man. That's what you do, man. You drain all the blood out. Go ahead. And there's some silly doctrines going around that, man didn't eat meat before the flood. That's a lie, man. Go ahead. It's a lie, man. I got the proof. Go ahead.
For it is the life of all flesh.
For it is what?
The life of all flesh.
Blood is the life of all flesh, man. So you ain't supposed to be eating blood. Listen, if you want to eat blood, go ahead. You're going to get a ton of diseases. You're going to get a ton of diseases and end up killing yourself, man. The Lord puts these laws in place so you don't harm yourself, man. Things ain't just written in here just to be written in here. There's a reason why the Lord says these things, man. And the Lord don't even have to give you a reason. If he says don't do it, just don't do it. What verse you at? Go ahead.
For the life thereof, therefore I said unto the children of Israel, ye shall eat no manner of flesh, for the life of all flesh in the blood thereof. Whosoever eats it shall be cut off.
Yes, listen, man. Back then you'd be cut off. You'd be an Israelite, but quote unquote, you wouldn't be an Israelite. You'd be an Israelite, but you'd be what? Wandering around on your own, not allowed to be amongst us, outside the camp doing your own thing. And Christ came back for these people that was cut off, man. Remember, the 10 tribes was cut off. So what it's talking about right here, the Gentiles in the New Testament, is talking about people like these, man, that done these kind of things that was cut off. Christ came so they could have a second chance to come back. That's why it talks about Gentiles in the New Testament. It's these people right here that was cut off because there's no longer Israelites by our standard. Once you cut off, you're no longer one of us. Once you cut off, you're no longer one of us. You're just a black man that's just over there doing whatever. That's what it's talking about, man. With that, you can drop that. Give me Leviticus chapter 18 and verse 1.
Leviticus 18 and 1. And Moses spake, and the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, I am the Lord your God. After the doing of the land of Egypt, wherein ye dwell, ye shall not do.
And after the doings of the land of Egypt, shall we not do? Because what did they do in Egypt? Had sex with their mother. Two men are having sex. Two women are having sex. They're having orgies, having sex with their daughter. Fathers having sex with their brother's daughter. Everyone's just having sex with everyone. They're having unlawful sex in every way possible. They was. The Lord said, after what you seen in Egypt, don't do it, man. Go ahead.
Wherein ye dwell shall ye not do, and after the doing of the land of Canaan, whither I bring you, ye shall not do, neither shall ye walk in their ordinances.
Listen, man, the Lord said don't walk in their ordinances. What they do, we ain't to do. Go ahead.
Ye shall do my judgment and keep my ordinances and walk therein. I am the Lord your God. Ye shall keep my statutes and my judgments, which if a man do, he shall live in them.
Listen, man, if a man do, you live in them, meaning you do them, man, and teach them. Go ahead.
I am the Lord. None of you shall approach to any that is near of kin to him.
None of you shall what?
Approach to any that is near of kin to him.
So listen, you ain't supposed to approach that is any that is near of kin to you for sex, man. You're approaching them for sex. Nah, man. You shouldn't be trying to sneak out of your bedroom to go into your sister's bedroom in the night. It just sounds so disgusting, man. But in Egypt, that was the norm for them. To us, it's disgusting because obviously we grew up not doing that. But in Egypt, that's what they do, man. In Egypt, that's what they would do. A man would want sex. His sister's in the bedroom next door. Who'd go have sex with her? That's what they would do, man. Romans and stuff, those people would do that. But not us, man. The Lord wants us to not do that, man. If you want sex, you go outside the family, man. Outside, you can. And it makes you a damn Israelite woman, man. And obviously, you have to stay with her for life if you do. Let me just throw that out there before people think, oh, just go have sex with anyone. Go ahead.
The nakedness of thy father or the nakedness of thy mother.
So the nakedness of thy father and the nakedness of thy mother, meaning you ain't supposed to what? See, approach your mother and your father. And also, man, the nakedness of your mother and your father, meaning what? If you're a mother, man, stop walking around the house naked in front of your kids. You know when people do that? Walking around with your tits out in front of the kids. Excuse my friend, so lucky. Walking around with your breast out in front of the kids, man. Walking around naked in front of the kids, man. Put on some clothes, man. What are you showing them? So what? Your son knows what your behind looks like now because you're walking around naked. You're thinking he's too young to know. He knows, man. Cover yourself up, man. And all of these things, parents taking baths with kids is so disgusting, man. Have you seen it? Disgusting, man. Don't be taking baths with your kids, man. You have your bath separate. How are you going to be naked in the bath with your child, man? It's disgusting, man. Our culture, we don't do that, man. That's something we've learned from Egyptians and Esau. Take a bath with your kids so you both can two birds with one stone. Don't do that, man. Go ahead. Like these laws that we're reading, what the Lord told us to do, we're not doing it, and you can see it in today's society that we're not doing what God told us to do. Go ahead.
She is thy mother, thou shalt not uncover her nakedness.
She's your mother, man. Thou shalt not uncover your nakedness, man. Nakedness. Don't be some son trying to have sex with your mom. All of these news articles that you see, mother and son get married. Go ahead.
The nakedness of thy father's wife thou shalt not uncover.
Listen, man. You see your father's rib. Obviously, which means a man can have multiple wives, right? If your father's got another wife, that's what it means. The nakedness of your father's wife, you ain't supposed to approach her, man. Go ahead to have sex with her.
It is thy father's nakedness.
It is what?
Thy father's nakedness.
That's your father's broad, man. Your father dumps off in that, man. Your father deals with all that, man. You ain't supposed to approach her. Go ahead.
The nakedness of thy sister.
The what?
The nakedness of thy sister.
The nakedness of your sister, man. You ain't supposed to be approaching your sister for sex and trying to look at her while she's naked in the bath, spying through the keyhole and all of that disgustingness, man. You ain't supposed to be doing that. The Lord's giving you laws on what not to do. Go ahead.
The daughter of thy father.
The what?
Daughter of thy father.
Go ahead.
Or the daughter of thy mother.
Go ahead.
Whether she be born at home or born abroad.
Listen, man, this is key. The daughter of your mother or the daughter of your father, whether she be born at home or born abroad. Because how a man will look at it is like, you know what? Me and my dad don't see each other. She's my dad's daughter, but she lives She lives in London, and you seen the body. Technically, she's not my sister because I didn't grow up with her. The Lord said, "Don't what."
The name of thy sister, thy daughter of thy father, or the daughter of thy mother.
Listen, man. Your mom's daughter, your father's daughter, man. Go ahead. Your stepsister, basically. Go ahead.
Whether she be born at home or born abroad.
Whether she be born at home or born abroad, meaning whether she's lived far away and you've never met her before. Listen, man. You still can't have sex with her, man. It's your sister. Because you know how some people have that mind state, like technically she's not. They try and distance themselves. Technically, she's not my sister because we didn't grow up in the same. We ain't got the same mom and dad. We just got the same dad. And technically, we're the same age, and my dad had both of us around the same time. But she lives far out. She's from America, and the Lord's saying, "Look, man, you still can't approach her, man. Stop trying to find ways around it, saying technically we're not related. You are related, man. Whether she be born at home or born abroad, you still can't have sex with her, man. It's your sister. Go ahead."
The nakedness of thy son's daughter.
The what?
Thy son's daughter.
The nakedness of thy son's daughter, man. Listen, man. The Lord right here, you know what the Lord's telling you right here? Don't be a pedophile, man. Listen, the Bible right here is telling you don't be a child molester, man. Don't be a pedophile. If we followed these laws, guess what would happen? None of us would be child molesters. None of us would be pedophiles. None of our sons and daughters would have to cry because they've been molested by their uncles and their grandfathers, man. They wouldn't have to cry if we followed these laws. Because we don't follow these laws, guess what happens? Our people are child molesters, the pedophiles. Read that again. What did the Lord say?
The nakedness of thy son's daughter.
Listen, man. The nakedness of thy son's daughter. The Lord's saying don't be a pedophile, man. The Lord's saying don't look at your son's daughter sexually. How can you hate the Bible and it's telling you not to do these things? I'm gonna tell you why you hate the Bible, because you're a pedophile yourself, man. That's why. That's the only reason you could hate the Bible, man. The Bible's telling you right here, don't be a child molester, don't be a pedophile, and you're gonna tell me, oh, this Bible's garbage. You see what it is? You're just mad that it goes against your disgusting lifestyle, man. It goes against all the evil that you want to do. Go ahead.
Even all thy daughter's daughter.
Or thy what?
Daughter's daughter.
Or thy daughter's daughter, man. Don't be approaching your daughter's daughter, man. That's your kin, man. That's your family. Go ahead.
For theirs is thine own nakedness.
Listen, man. That's your own nakedness, man. That's your daughter's daughter, man. That's a close relative, man. Go ahead.
The nakedness of thy father's wife's daughter.
The what?
Nakedness of thy father's wife's daughter.
The nakedness of your father's wife's daughter. Read that again.
Oh. The nakedness of thy father's wife's daughter.
So lucky. Yeah. Hold on, read it again.
The nakedness of thy father's wife's daughter.
Go ahead. No, what the hell that means? Go ahead.
Father, woman, child.
Read that again.
God of thy father, she's thy sister. Yes.
Your sister, yeah. That was sounding confusing. I'm thinking, so yeah. Don't approach your sister, man. You can't have sex with your sister. Go ahead.
Thou shalt uncover her nakedness.
Thou shalt not.
Thou shalt not.
Oh, I was thinking that. Thou shalt not uncover her nakedness. Go ahead.
Thou shalt not uncover the nakedness of thy father's sister.
Thou shalt not. So that's your auntie. Don't be trying to have sex with your auntie. And you aunties, don't be trying to have sex with your nephews, man. It's disgusting. You know, it sounds like one big nasty family affair. Don't be doing that. Go ahead.
She's thy father's near kinswoman.
She's your father's near kinswoman, man. And this right here goes to what? You aunties as well. Don't be pedophiles molesting your nephews, man. Don't be child molesters molesting your nephews. The Lord's telling you this right here, man. Go ahead.
Thou shalt not uncover the nakedness of thy mother's sister. She thy mother's near kinswoman.
There you go. Don't be trying to deal with your auntie on your mom's side. Go ahead.
Thou shalt not uncover the nakedness of thy father's brother. Thou shalt not approach his wife, she thine aunt. Thou shalt not uncover the nakedness of thy daughter-in-law.
Thou shalt what?
Not uncover the nakedness of thy daughter-in-law.
Listen, man. This right here is heavy, man. What does that say?
Thou shalt not uncover the nakedness of thy daughter-in-law.
If we follow this right here, every black woman that's got a man, she wouldn't have to be angry at her daughter, because you know what happens? Women imagine you're a woman, you got a man, you got a child from a previous relationship, a daughter. She starts to blossom at about what, 19, 20. And then guess what? Mommy's going to start to get old now. And then what? This man is going to look at the daughter, and what do women do? Start to hate their kids, right? Start to hate their daughters and be like, you know what? I need to kick this bitch out the house because she's enticing my man. If we follow this law right here, that man would know not to even look at your daughter, man. So you should love the Bible, man. We follow this law right here. That man would know not to even look at your daughter. And also, man, you women, man, need to stop having your daughters in the house running around in their booty shorts while your man's all up in there, man. Because if that man ain't in the truth, guess what? He's gonna look at your daughter, man. This man could have been their stepdad from the age of say what 10, and then he sees them grow up, and then one day he's looking at them sideways like he's looking at them like that, sideways like that, man. And this is why every man should be in the truth, and they won't do that, man. All you women should be pushing your men and your kids to get in this truth, so you don't have these problems, man. But outside of the truth, you're gonna have these problems. Your daughter's having an affair with your man. Your daughter comes to you 20 years down the line saying, "Oh, he molested me." Why did he molest her? Because he ain't got the truth, man. He don't follow the Bible, man. That's why he did it. Go ahead. And he's a sexual deviant. Also, go ahead.
Thou shalt not uncover the naked of thy daughter-in-law.
Thou shalt not uncover the nakedness of thy daughter-in-law. Now, the Bible says what? Fear God and keep his commandments. Listen, that man is going to try and deal with your daughter because he don't fear God. If he did fear God, he would know he can't do that. But if he don't fear God, it means he don't fear nobody. He don't fear the police system. He don't fear you. So he's gonna go with the lust that he wants to do, man. He's gonna go with that disgusting demon that's telling him, yo, molest them, man, and he's gonna do that because he don't fear God and he don't want to serve God. Whereas if he did, he would understand, no, I can't do that. It's against God. Go ahead.
She thy son's wife, thou shalt not uncover her nakedness.
Listen, man, don't be trying to mess with your daughter's rib either, man. You see it on Jeremy Kyle, the dad slept with his daughter's woman. Disgusting, man. Go ahead.
Thou shalt not uncover the nakedness of thy brother's wife.
Listen, man, thou shalt not uncover the nakedness of thy brother's wife. Now, the verse we read in Deuteronomy 15, where it goes, if your brother dies, that's why I pulled that verse first, because people be like, but that one says the brother should take his brother's wife if he dies. The difference is he's dead at this stage. At this stage, he's alive. Don't be trying to take your brother's wife, man, if he's alive and whatnot. But if your brother dies, it's your job to perform the duty of marriage. Back then, obviously, you're not going to do that now, but go ahead.
Thou shalt not uncover the nakedness of a woman and her daughter.
Thou shalt what?
Not uncover the nakedness of a woman and her daughter.
Listen, man, the Lord's telling you here, don't be a child molester, don't be a pedophile, don't be a sexual deviant, man. Imagine being a woman, you're at work, and you have to worry about if your man's having sex with your daughter, man. Imagine having to worry about that, man. That must be stress. And then what happens is you start to hate your daughter because your daughter grows up. Your daughter starts to get a little bit of a body. Your daughter starts to walk past, and then your man sitting in the chair watching the movie. Your daughter with a big booty walks past, his head turns like this. You don't want him, basically nowhere around there. Then you kick your daughter out. You and your daughter's relationship becomes strained. Used to no longer get on. But if we all follow God's laws, we wouldn't have that problem, man. And this is why God's laws is in place for a reason, so it don't harm you, man. We follow God's laws, we won't come to no harm. There won't be no child molesters, there won't be no pedophiles if we follow God's laws. But because we don't follow God's laws, there's a ton of murderers and everything. Go ahead.
Neither shall thou take her son's daughter or her daughter's daughter.
Neither what?
Shall thou take her son's daughter?
Neither shall you take her son's daughter, man. Meaning you've got a rib. She's got a son, he's got a daughter. You ain't supposed to touch her either, man. Listen, man, the Lord is so righteous that everything is covered in this Bible, man. Every aspect of life is covered in this Bible. Listen, everything that a sexual deviant wants to do, this Bible tells you not to do it, man. Every wickedness that you want to do, there's a scripture on it that says don't do it, man. But most people don't know the Bible or don't understand it, so they just go ahead with what's in their mind. Go ahead.
Or her daughter's daughter to uncover her nakedness.
Listen, man, you ain't supposed to go with your daughter's daughter. Go ahead.
For they are near kinswoman, okay. For they are her near kinswoman. It is wicked. It
is what?
Wicked.
Listen, man. For you to take your daughter's, for you to take your rib's daughter, it's wicked, man. For you to take your auntie and your uncles and your sister, it is wicked, man. Go ahead.
Neither shall thou take wife to her sister.
Neither what? Neither what?
Neither shall thou take a wife to her sister to vex her.
So listen, man, you ain't supposed to marry two sisters, man. Two sisters who's got the same father and mother. You ain't supposed to take them. You know why? To vex her. Because you know why she's going to be vexed? Because that's her sister, and them two are going to be in competition. Them two are going to hate one another. They're going to be like, you're spending more time with her. You're treating her better. So the Lord said, don't take them, a sister in her lifetime to vex her, man. Meaning what? She's going to be miserable her whole life, man. Listen, Remember, Jacob's ribs was miserable because of it, right? It was Leah and Rebecca. Jacob had both of them, man. And listen, man, they didn't like the idea, man. They didn't like the idea because you know why? Jacob loved who? Was it Rebecca? Jacob loved Rebecca, man. Jacob preferred Rebecca. So if you take two sisters who have got the same father, it's just going to be confusion, and they're going to hate each other, and they're not going to get along. And before you know it, their sisterhood between them is strained and whatnot. Go ahead.
Neither shall thou take thy wife's sister to uncover her nakedness beside the other in their lifetime.
Besides the other in their lifetime, man. Don't be doing that in their lifetime. Go ahead.
Also, thou shalt not approach unto a woman to uncover her nakedness, as long as she is put away apart for her uncleanness.
So she's put away apart for her uncleanliness. So it's this woman's time of the month. You can't be trying to have sex with her. She's been put away for her uncleanness. So you're meant to stay away from her until them 7 days pass, and then after that year, you can do whatever. Go ahead.
Moreover, thou shalt not lie carnally with thy neighbor's wife.
That's it on that. Give me Leviticus chapter 20 and verse 9. So now we're going to get the punishments if you do those things. That one right there was telling you not to do it, but niggas be hard-headed. So in Leviticus the 20th chapter, it tells you the punishments for if you do those things. So Leviticus 20 and verse 9.
Leviticus 29.
Oh.
Leviticus 29, for everyone that curseth his father or his mother shall surely be put to death.
Basically, if you curse your mother or father, a curse ain't just saying the F word. A curse is this saying, I hope you die. I hope you rot in hell. I hope you get cancer. I hope you get this. I hope you get hit by a bus. Listen, man, that's a curse. You're wishing something. You're wishing evil on them, man. That's a curse. That's what a curse is according to the Bible. A curse ain't just telling someone to F off or calling someone an idiot. That's not a curse. Go ahead.
His blood shall be upon him.
Listen, man. Meaning what? In order for you to get right, some blood had to be shed. Blood had to be shed to atone for your wrongdoings. But if you curse your mother or father, your blood shall be upon him, meaning you have to die for that wrong. No animal can't die for that wrong. A lamb can't die for what you've just done. For you cursing your mother or father, a lamb can't die for it. A goat can't die for it. A turtle dove can't die for it. You have to die for what you've done wrong. That's what it means when it says your blood shall be upon you. Go ahead. Meaning you have to die for that.
And the man that committeth adultery with another man's wife.
And the man that committeth adultery with another man's wife, meaning what? This woman's got a man. She's married to someone else. You go and have sex with her. Go ahead.
Even his neighbor's wife.
Even his neighbor's wife. Go ahead.
The adulterer and the adulteress shall surely be put to death.
The adulterer and the adulteress shall surely be put to death. Meaning what? The Lord didn't write this because he wants to stone you. The Lord said this so you don't have sex with another man's wife, man. The Lord's telling you, if you do have sex with another man's wife, this is going to happen. The Lord said that thinking, okay, they would read this and not have sex with another man's wife, but black people don't care. Black people still going to have sex with another man's wife because, you know, it's 5 minutes of fun and it passes the time and I can add another notch to my belt. That's what black men say as I add another notch to my belt. Go ahead.
A man that lieth with his father's wife have uncovered his father's nakedness.
Go ahead.
Both of them shall surely be put to death.
Listen, man, you sleep with your father's rib. You've uncovered your father's nakedness, man. You're supposed to get put to death, meaning you go before the judges, you get dragged out the city, you get stoned with stones until you die, man. You get stoned to death. Go ahead.
Their blood shall be upon them.
Listen, man, no animal can atone for that. You would have had to die for that back then. Go ahead.
And if a man lies with his daughter-in-law, both of them shall surely be put to death.
Listen, man, if a man lies with his daughter-in-law, both of them shall be put to death. Now, we read it in Leviticus the 18th chapter. Now, in Leviticus the 20th chapter, this is the punishment if you do those things. The Lord told you don't do it. Now it's telling you if you do it, this is what's going to happen. You're going to be put to death for them things. Go ahead.
They have brought confusion.
You've brought confusion, man, because it's confusing that this woman was with this man, but she's with this man, and it's confusing, man. Go ahead.
Their blood shall be upon them.
Go
Man
ahead.
also lie with mankind as he lieth with a woman.
Listen, man, if a man has sex with another man, no animal can atone for that, man. You have to die for that because it's disgusting and it's gay. And two men should never be that close. How does a man pull down another man's drawers and think it's disgusting? How does a man think that's acceptable? Listen, man, it's only right you have to die for that, man. Go ahead. But now if you are homosexual, because Christ died for this nation, you need to repent, man. You need to repent and never ever do that again. And don't ever tell me that's what you used to do, because I'll distance myself from you. Go ahead. Don't ever tell me that's what you used to be. You come in here, you be brand new. Just like I say that again. Exactly. Go ahead.
If a man also lie with mankind as he lied with the woman, both of them have committed an abomination.
So if a man's a homosexual, you've committed an abomination. Now the law says you should be stoned to death. But because of Yahushua that died for this whole nation, people can't look down on you and be like, you know what? He done this, he deserves to die. Because really, all of us have done some wickedness that we deserve to die for. Some of us have served other gods which we deserve to die for. So we ain't no more better than you are. But you have the chance to repent, so you shouldn't do that no more, man. If that's the lifestyle that you live in, that disgusting lifestyle, don't do it no more, man. Change your life and serve God, man, and don't do that. Go ahead.
They shall surely be put to death, their blood shall be upon them.
Listen, man, you would have to die for that. Go ahead.
If a man take a wife and her mother, it is wickedness.
If a man takes a wife, if a man has sex with a woman and then has sex with her mom, like you see on all these TV shows, Jeremy Kyle, The Maury Show, mom is old and wants to have sex with a young boy, so she sleeps with her daughter's partner. Both of them was meant to be put to death for that also in the law. Go ahead.
They shall be burnt with fire.
Ooh, the Lord put that in there just so you don't do it. That thou shalt be burnt with fire. Listen, man, you believe how's a fiery place under the ground? That's a lie, man. The Lord said they shall be burnt with fire in the earth, man. He didn't say when they die and go to a fiery place under the ground. The Lord said they shall be burnt with fire. You see them videos where they put tires around them and burn them. That would be you, man. Being burnt. Just imagine that being burned, man. Go ahead.
Both he and they.
Both him and her shall be burnt. Go ahead.
That there be no wickedness among you.
That there be no evil amongst us. Go ahead.
And if a man lie with a beast, he shall surely be put to death.
Listen, man, if a man has sex with an animal, he shall surely be put to death, man. Like that's strange to us because black people don't do that. But believe you me, Egyptians used to do it and Esau does it. Everyone's seen that video of that woman. Remember that woman had sex with the horse? I'm sure she died after that, right? Some woman had sex with a horse. And you see these videos of Esau having sex with their pet dogs and East Indians having sex with cows. Believe it, it does happen. The Lord said, anyone that does that, they shall surely be put to death. Go ahead.
And ye shall slay the beast.
And you kill the beast also, man. The animal has to die also, man. You kill that animal, man. Go ahead.
And if a woman approach any beast and lie down there until
meaning a woman bends over before these animals, like what Esau does, because they like to have sex with animals. Go ahead.
Thou shalt kill the woman and the beast.
Listen, man, that woman would have to die and the animal would have to die. What verse yet? Go ahead. Read on to
Verse 17, and if a man shall take his sister, his father's daughter, or his mother's daughter, and see her nakedness, and see his nakedness, it is a wicked thing.
It's a wicked thing, man. You ain't supposed to see your sister's nakedness, man. You ain't supposed to see all of that stuff, man. Stop putting your kids in the bath together at these big ages and that, man. It's disgusting, man. Obviously, yeah, little boys know that their private parts is different to women's, man. You're gonna have your son pointing at his sister's private parts, and don't have them in the. It's disgusting, man. Don't have them in the bath, man. Talking about, oh, we ain't got enough hot water. Listen, man, don't give me that excuse, man. Go ahead.
It's a wicked thing. He shall be cut off in the sight of all the people.
You shall be cut off, man. Go ahead.
He hath uncovered his sister's nakedness.
Disgusting, man. You cut off. You're no longer one of us. Go ahead.
He shall bear his iniquity. If a man lie,
meaning what? You have to live with that, man. You cut off, and you want to come back, but you can't come back. You have to bear your iniquity. You have to live with that, man. And everyone's gonna know, yeah, this is that disgusting guy that had sex with his sister. He's disgusting. You have to live with that. Making comments as you're passing. Go ahead.
And if a man lie with a woman having a sickness, and shall uncover her nakedness, he has discovered her bounty, and she hath uncovered the bounty of her blood. Both of them shall be cut off from among the people.
Listen, man, what do they call it? Running a red light.
Oh, yeah,
that's what they call it. They call it running a red light. Obviously, certain time of the month, you can't be having sex with her. You have to wait. You've uncovered her fountain, and both of you shall be cut off. And the Lord's so righteous, he don't want you doing that nastiness. He don't want you doing none of that. None of these weird sex acts. None of these disgusting sex acts. Surely, my brother, you can wait 7 days, my brother. Surely. Waiting 7 days ain't going to kill you, man. Waiting 7 days ain't going to kill you, man. Just wait 7 days, please, man. Or just wait until the time is stop, man. That's what you do. We open the time with that. We're gonna do the Lord's Prayer. We're out of here. Also, we're here January 25th, 3 p.m. Come to the lecture, 394 Lodge Road, B18 5PW. Also, log into class tomorrow, 7 p.m. After Parasha will be here, man. 7 p.m. We got class here again. With that, that brings us to the end of the class. We're gonna do the announcements and the prayers, and we're out of here. All right, Shalom Israel. We're out of here. Shalom.